I think right now, if you look at on the playing field, there's some issues that District 36 faces that are statewide issues, education, and everybody up here is worried about the medical school. That's something we hear knocking on doors. We've knocked on about 10 or 12,000 doors. Everyone to the T says, what are you going to do about the medical center? I don't care what socioeconomic background they have. Everyone relies on that as a great thing. We have the Planned Parenthood scandal going on right now. That has been a huge eye-opener for a lot of people. It will not require a lot of tax dollars to fix that problem in Louisiana. Louisiana doesn't specifically fund abortion, but if we don't show our kids that immorality has a cost, then we're going to be in some trouble there. So my first bill probably will be to give anyone who participates in the selling of baby parts in any stream of commerce that happens in Louisiana, they'll get an automatic life sentence. And I think we need to send that message, send it loud and clear, and we need to be the first to do that. I'm vice president of the Republican Party of Bossier. I drafted a resolution that did that. We just happened to have our meeting the day after all that information came out. So in my quiet time in the morning, because I'm a licensed Baptist minister, when you have 4 daughters, you read your Bible a lot, and then you end up teaching a lot, and then you get recruited into that. So that's something that's real important. It's not important to us as small business owners, because we're worried about government intervention into our business. But, I think history will judge us on how we act on that one. I think it's a big animal in the room, and we have to deal with it because kids are starting to learn about it, and it's a tough thing. How we value life is going to determine how God helps us on our other problems. That's just history in the Bible. We can't battle that absolute. We've talked about education, but I think, as far as a theme, I think we see states that leave local power with good counties or parishes that do a good job, they always fare better. If you go to Nebraska or other states that just have it down, people are more willing to vote for a local tax if they know it's going to stay local. That's what we kind of scream as business people. We don't want to have unfunded mandates to our local school boards. I have a special needs child. She's a spastic quadriplegic, and Susan and I are very fortunate that we can provide everything Rebecca needs. We have a nanny that sits with her. If she needs to go to Dallas Children's, we go over to Dallas Children's with her. Now she's blind, and she's in a wheelchair, and we feed her through a feeding tube. And we have 4 girls, so she has 4 mamas. So I think what's happened to the least of us. I was in Nashville last week I'm the Louisiana trustee for the Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission for the Southern Baptist Convention, and as the Louisiana delegate, I get to go to Nashville once a year to kind of hear how bad Washington feels about Christians, and it's amazing this year how bad it is. And one of those things is how the weak are treated. I can't imagine Susan and I struggling through this with 2 part-time jobs and being told, hey, that the infamil you put in her feeding tube, we're not going to pay for that this month. What do you do then? And so we've met some people that struggle with those decisions that were made. And that goes back to the infrastructure and the education questions. We're mismanaging priorities. And we scratch our head and say, well, how can we have the Haynesville Shell happen and be in a deficit? Now, when it's your client who got $100,000 and now they owe $40,000 in taxes, and you're going, what'd you do with the whole $100,000? Well, I spent it. It was mine. No. You owe taxes on that. The same thing happened at the state level. Just all those mineral dollars just ran through the fingers of the budget. So I think we have to get back to that. As far as issues important to me, I think the Planned Parenthood issue is very important. I think we have to speak on that, speak on it loudly and boldly, and I think we'll get a lot of resistance. That's the scary part. I think we'll get a lot of resistance in Baton Rouge. But honestly, I think knocking on doors, it's very funny how people are worried about the same kind of things that we're worried about. Some teachers were talking to me the other day about just how upset they were about Common Core. And I said, guys, nobody knew what that was going to be. And they said, yeah, they did. Our GLEs were just as good. And now we have kids that are punching out mentally. And I said, well, now you know how my small business feels. You're experiencing government intervention into a sacred relationship. I've had that going on for 15, 20 years. And how does it feel? And they said, we don't like it. And I said, well, that's where we are. Other than that, I mean, all the fluff issues you can usually talk about during a campaign, we don't get to talk about those this year. You know, we don't get to talk about a lot of those things because if we don't fix the budget and if we don't end up changing our Constitution, it doesn't matter. You know, it just doesn't matter. So.